We could talk about our guests that we have coming on. And we got to switch gears real quick. Our guest coming on, Jay Black, give them the information because this is very important for those going through the struggle with the court system.
Yeah, so we got Cortez Patton. He is he's the chief counsel for PA State Senator Anthony Williams. So he's going to come on. And a lot of people don't realize that when you have a felony, some of those felonies can come off. And you don't need a lawyer to get it done. And Cortez is going to speak to that and answer some key questions related. So anybody out there with a felony, you got a family member with a felony, or you got one, and you wondering, hey, can I really get this expunged or governor's pardon? What do you need to do? He's going to break that down because he actually helped me, and it's legit. It worked. I mean,
I did not know that in order for you to pardon yourself, Jay Black, you need a governor's pardon. Like, how the hell did you get a governor's pardon? Like, did you text him?
No, actually, believe it or not, I was talking. It's crazy how your alcohol led to this. Wow, your alcohol drinking.
Wow. Oh, you know what? Clap it up.
That's deep. I just thought about that.
It wasn't a bad thing. It wasn't a bad thing.
So Mike's drinking actually, Ken. What happened was I was talking to one of our other good friends, Big Rob, and we were setting up a intervention for Mike
at the strip club. Intervention at the strip club. Mention that, Mr. Good Samaritan. How about you put the full information out there? They did an intervention for me at a strip club. Now back to your pardon. My bad. Back to your pardon.
Where you had to drink alcohol. I don't know what me and Rob was thinking on that part, but we had good intentions. But so me and Big Rob was talking about Mike and trying to help Mike out, and then I hear say, yo, Jay, what's up with you? And I was like, yeah, man, just upset I couldn't go to my son's little school function because I got a felony and I can't go on this class trip. And he's like, what? Wait, you can get that off? I'm like, I tried. The lawyer wanted like $5,000, the retainer fee, and I got to go to Harrisburg. It was like a whole bunch of money.
Right.
I'm going to keep this felony. But I was like, no, see my man Cortez. He could talk to you about a governor's pardon. Rob set up the meeting. I went to Cortez's office and he broke it down. I was like, no, you don't need a dime. You just got to get some paperwork together, send your stuff in. It's free to file. Well, it wasn't free, like $10, I think it was, but it was owed to me. That was the process. And then he walked me through the steps, and that was it.
Yo, Jay, I just want to tell you something.
Wow.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so your alcoholism, your addiction led to me getting a governor's pardon. So this big monkey that was been on my back for 20 plus years is off.
I sacrifice for you, homie. You know you my brother. I sacrifice for you.
The love is real. See that, Cam?
I took all that heat. I took all them nights of drinking and affecting my liver and affecting my lifestyle and losing. I did it so that you could get pardoned. I'm unselfish, Jay Black.
That's the biggest assist a point
ever.
Forget it, LeBron. I got a Michael Shawn. What are you talking about?
I am the GOAT. I am the GOAT.
LeBron ain't do that.
LeBron ain't make that happen. Michael Shawn, man, I am the GOAT. Y'all think I'm drinking just because I like drinking. I'm drinking to help people. I was drinking back then just to help my friends, my brothers. I sacrificed.
Who knew?
Yep.
Who knew?
In a metaphoric type of way, I was walking over that bridge in Selma just to save my brother. That's what I did.
Not Selma.
Boy, okay.
Man, I'm selfless. I'm selfless. I'm one of my, and then you got the paperwork. Jay Black laid down the paperwork. He posted it on his Instagram. Oh,
actually, I didn't post.
Oh, you didn't?
I didn't. I thought it was a little bit too much to share. Maybe I should have. I don't know. You tell me. But yeah.
Where the hell you been? We share everything. What are you talking about?
No, it just felt weird with a governor's pardon. They were like, yo, you was a criminal? But I guess I'm talking about it now. I just turned 18. We all did stupid stuff when we were young, I believe. I just got caught,
Shared too much on Instagram. What are you talking about? Like if Stacey, it was possible for us to get her pregnant again, I'd put the fetus on Instagram. Do you hear me? And it would. What?
Oh,
I put everything. Come on, Jay Black. What are you talking? And ain't no sonogram. I'm not putting the sonogram. I'm doing it myself. I got the iPhone, and I'm like, y'all about to see me and my girl's fetus. y'all gonna stop playing. Put my whole life on this thing, baby. But you're welcome, Jay. You're welcome. You're welcome.
No, I appreciate it.
Now he's free to go wherever he wants to go.
Man, legit. You apply for stuff. I ain't got to check that box no more. Are you a convicted felon? I could probably say nope.
Yeah. The irony of that whole thing is that you literally are free, and now when I go back to Jersey, I still got to check in with my probation officer. Like, this is crazy, like how things change, yo. I sacrificed too much for my people. I sacrificed too much. I think if I had to do it all over again, Jay Black can't go on a field trip. Mike can travel freely. I think I would have took Mike can travel freely.
Wait, no, I can go on school trips. No, that ain't right. He's there.
Oh man! Oh, we got our guest on now.
Yeah, 8:30. Yep, he's here. Look at that, punctual too.
I keep forgetting that there's a time difference.
Oh
yeah, he's like 30 seconds early. Word.
I was about to take a black and mild smoke break, and you guys really like this? Is what we do? Y'all can't. Y'all don't take my time zone seriously. Y'all don't take my time zone seriously.
It's all about the East Coast time.
Jay Black, introduce our guest.
So once again, welcome into the show. We have Mr. Cortez Patton. He's the chief counsel for PA State Senator Anthony Williams. Welcome him to the show right now. Cortez, welcome. Good morning.
Yeah, Cortez.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning.
Good morning.
Cortez, first of all, thank you for taking time out to actually come on the show. Because when I tell you we're trying to be like, we are three irresponsible individuals who have fun on the radio.
I like it.
And once you came on, I almost wanted to change my clothes because like I look crazy. We're on Zoom, and I was like, "Yo, we got somebody official." Please tell us, what is it that you're really pressed about, that you really want to spread the word about?
So right now in Philly, most of my work is focused on criminal justice reform. So whatever path that takes right now, I'm really working on technical violations that's trying to just keep people who are nonviolent offenders out of jail, but also helping people on reentry. So once they're out of jail, actually creating a real pathway for people to be successful. So that's the largest part of my work right now. And also in Philly, we're grappling with a homicide rate that's astronomical, and young Black men dying, at these rates that are really unimaginable. So right now, that's the biggest part of my work.
Now, way back, because number one, thank you so much once again for joining, and thank you so much for actually helping folks who are going through this situation, who are being locked up for nonviolent crimes and things of that nature. How scary is it for somebody to navigate through the court system if they don't have the proper representation? Like, how scary is it, and what are the landmines, and what could really happen to people if they don't have somebody to stand by them?
It's very scary, very scary. You have this giant system that was never really designed to help Black people, and you have Black people who are underrepresented anyway, and there's not great representation in the system when it comes to judges and attorneys. And so when there are people there who just don't care about, quite frankly, the humanity of Black people, you find yourself in a system where it's not responsive to you. You're trying your hardest to get back on the right track, but the system is actually not responding to you because it was never designed for you. And so it takes people like me and many, many others who are active in this space to stand up and say, we have a platform, we have the skills to help people, so let's do something about it. Because otherwise, you'll just get caught up with the idea that it's going to take 2 years to 4 years to ever get your record cleared, or you might be on probation for 10 years for a crime you could only been sentenced to 3 years for. So unless you have people around who actually care about what's going on and the impact it has to the community, then you're going to be in for a pretty rough situation.
And I'm going to let Jay Black ask a question, and then y'all go, because Jay Black is really passionate about this, and for obvious reasons, all jokes aside, because something that he did when he was young, like, stayed with his life, his entire life, until absolutely right now. But I just want to ask you this. The Meek Mill situation kind of brought light to how crazy the court system is in Philadelphia. And if it wasn't for certain situations where he just happened to wind up friending one of the co-owners of the Philadelphia 76ers, he just happened to be a rapper, and Jay-Z was somebody who took interest. And these people had to bring major money. Like, you had a billionaire and a billionaire have to come together. And even when they came together, it wasn't like the system just turned up and it was like quick, fast, in a hurry. It was still a challenge. How usual is this? Do you see this a lot where judges in Philadelphia have actually abused their power to the point where they want shout outs on records and it can keep somebody in jail like that?
Yeah, so I before Meek, I had never heard of anything like that happening. But of course, he's Meek, so he is really going to be more susceptible to that kind of a situation where someone is trying to take advantage of him and his platform. So I wouldn't say that kind of thing happens frequently, but people are tied up in the probation system for years and years and years. Unfortunately, that's not unique to Meek. So that particular situation that I don't think is customary, and most of the judges just think that they're trying to do the right thing. The problem is they don't actually understand the people who are coming before them. So things that are really just simple things that they think a person is not doing, not following the rules, they're taking that as a sign of disrespect. And there's even a portion of the law that gives judges the authority, or I should say the ability to vindicate the authority of the court, which is an extraordinary standard, which could mean anything. And so anytime there is a perceived violation, that judge can then find some remedy, which usually involves sending a black man back to jail.
I was speaking to Cortez, Patton, and Jay Black. I know you want to ask some questions, so go ahead, take it away.
No, speaking of the Meek Mills, I know you were part of the team that wrote the probation bill that limits the time someone can actually be on probation. Like, talk a little bit about that.
Right. So we were fighting for hard caps on probation terms. So 5 years for felonies, 3 years for misdemeanors, but we also created incentives for people who are doing the right thing for their probation to be terminated automatically earlier, because all the data shows us that if a person is going to reoffend, that person typically reoffends within the first 18 months. So there's really no need to keep someone bound up in a system where they're being pulled away from their family, from their work, from the usual things in life where we're supervising them, but we don't see any actual value there. So we were fighting for hard caps. Of course, there are the District Attorneys Association and current judges. They were saying that they need all this discretion because there's no way to make someone do something unless you can send them to jail, which we all know. Once again, we got a system that's not designed for us. And you have people who don't recognize, and I'm talking specifically about Black people right now. It helps other people, of course, but we know Black men specifically are overrepresented in this system. And so we were trying to find ways everywhere we could to limit the exposure that Black people have to discretion when people do not understand them.
With the you got another one, Jay Black? Or am I interrupting?
No, you got it. We can go back and forth.
Oh, with the probation and stuff like that. Shout out to Gilly the Kid and Wallow. And they have a petition with Wallow, which I guess he has some outrageous amount of time on his probation. I think it's like 15 or 20 years on probation. And which I think is kind of crazy because if you got sentenced to a certain amount of time in prison and we always heard the old cliche, you know what I'm saying? Do the crime, pay the time.
Yep.
Right. And that's the punishment. Right.
Yeah, that's the punishment. And then you get out and they're like, but we got you in the spider web for another 15 to 20 years. So if anything comes up, if you happen to travel outside the state, if you happen to have fail a drug test where marijuana is legal in just about 20, 25 different states and stuff like that. When you see this probation, how do we reform this? Because every state seems to have different laws. Like I'm in Texas and they got different laws, and you're in Pennsylvania and they have different laws. Like can there be a literal like general thing where this is what probation is? And if there was, what would be like one or two suggestions that you would have for it? So
you won't get a national standard for probation unless you're talking about federal crimes, right? So all the states will have a different system because each state comes up with its own crimes code, and they're very similar, but each state will have its own system. And so, but when it comes to the individual states, this is the work that Meek and Reform Alliance are doing across the country is to limit the time that a person is on probation. So we want hard caps, but we haven't gotten them yet, but also to limit the amount of discretion that a judge has, so that a person is just not just needlessly tied up in the system.
Now, is this true? I read a story. Now, tell me if this is a falsehood, that there's no way this is possible. Can a person be on probation for life? Can they get a life situation where they're on probation for life?
There could be an occasion where somebody is under some kind of supervision for life, but that's not the usual thing. What happens with most people who have these extraordinarily long sentences is that there is a violation, typically a technical violation, not even a new crime, and the judge is resentencing them to a brand new term of probation.
So we're speaking to Cortez Patton, Chief Counsel for PA State Senator Anthony Williams. You're in Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. That is a second home to me. Like, I had my first radio job there, and I lived in South Jersey. My family still lives in South Jersey. And so Philadelphia is near and dear to my heart. Without them, my radio career would not have happened. And it is a city. I'm a New Yorker, so I've always been a New York fan on everything.
Of course, right.
On everything.
On
everything. But when I tell you what Philly did for my career was absolutely amazing. And the sadness that comes to me when I see the violence that's going on there right now. We're almost watching Philadelphia start heading towards a level of a Chirac, a Chicago. I don't have any answers. Do you have any clarification on why this is going on? Is it the COVID? Is it the poverty level? I don't believe the COVID, because this was going on way before COVID.
Right.
But is it
right.
is it unemployment? What is it that is going on?
It's definitely primarily the poverty level in Philly. We are the poorest big city in the country, and there's not enough being done to actually help people. And so in those concentrations of poverty, typically Black neighborhoods. And so the pandemic has definitely exposed people to more stuff, in that there aren't as many outlets for people. So like petty conflict is bubbling up to these massive neighborhood wars where, again, young Black men are killing each other. And so we're trying to get money for community programming, job pathways, all that kind of stuff. But it takes real intervention on the streets right now to get young Black men to actually recognize this. You're going down the wrong path, and this is destructive for the community as a whole. But it's definitely the systemic racism, the root causes of poverty that people don't want to deal with, that just allows this situation to continue.
All right, so my whole career has been based on doing comedy, making people laugh, and doing radio and doing hip hop radio. So you don't have to answer this if you want to. You don't have to answer this, but I will say this. When you watch hip hop and you listen to hip hop, does it make you cringe?
Sometimes.
On what we're promoting, and people don't seem to understand the end result of influencing 15, 16, 17, 18, 19-year-olds.
Right.
And I make this one analogy, and I always make this. When a rapper gets killed and we mourn the rapper, and we go like, this is crazy. We lost another rapper at 22 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get in our car and listen to a song that's bragging about the same action that just took the rapper.
Right.
The same, and bragging about it. And I sit there and go like, how do we mourn if we're just going to sit there and turn up another song talking about the same thing? What effects do you think hip hop has had? Now, I'm not blaming hip hop for the whole thing, because this situation was there way before hip hop.
Right.
But what effects do you think hip hop has had on the city of Philadelphia and inner cities all around the country?
Right. Well, so a big part of it is just glorifying, violent culture, right? Or doing things that lead to things that are just not productive. And it's one thing to talk about it, to talk about your experience, but to actively promote something, it gives people the impression that this is the way. This is the way out from where I am. This is how I prove myself. And so once we can be beyond that moment where it's, because hip hop, it's poetry. We are hearing about our real experiences. But when you act like that is the only experience, because, these guys who are out here doing this, some of them are still, and I'm talking about the actual artists. Some of them are still doing some of this stuff, but many of them are clearly moving away from that because they have a new opportunity. And so I know that doesn't sell as well, right? Buy back the block. You can do that if you're Hove, but if you're the regular guy, from South Philly, that might not sell as well because you don't have as many resources yet, right? And so you're still glorifying this old thing. And so everybody is a role model, and so the more people accept that, whether you want to be, that's a different question, but everybody is a role model. Somebody is consuming this music. Somebody is consuming this information. And so when it continues to be negative, then you're tearing down the very fabric of you're not doing it alone, right? There are a bunch of
course,
factors, right? But you're not contributing to the empowerment of the people if you continue to glorify violence and all the other kind of stuff that is not productive for the community or for the individual person.
And once again, we're speaking to Cortez Patton, Chief Counsel for Pennsylvania State Senator Anthony Williams. Now let's simplify things. So Cortez, for the average person out there, when they hear governor's pardon, they hear expungement, record sealed, like break down the differences for them.
So an expungement is the most typical kind of action that a person will experience in trying to clear a criminal record. So that involves anything where you're charged with a crime and you're not convicted. And so that's called non-conviction data. In Pennsylvania, if you had a summary offense, which is disorderly conduct, public urination or something, if you had one of those type charges and then 5 years later you haven't had any additional interaction with law enforcement, that can be expunged. But for most people, you actually have to get a pardon. People who have drug crimes, gun crimes, all that kind of stuff, you actually have to seek a pardon from the governor, and then you could get it expunged. In Pennsylvania, the wait time could be 2 years. A few years ago, the wait time was as long as 5 years, but that's when you have this order of pardons where people send an application that there are 5 people appointed by the governor. This is why civic participation matters, because there are always people making decisions about us, about our lives. So they're appointed by the governor. And in order to get a favorable recommendation, you need 3 of these people to understand, although I'm not perfect, I might not present so well, but I'm trying to do the best I know how to do. And so you need 3 of those people to recommend that you are granted a pardon. But ultimately, a pardon is left to the governor. And so if he doesn't want to do it, he doesn't want to do it. Before our current governor, Governor Corbett didn't issue any pardons to anybody during his 4-year term. And so that's what created this significant backlog for everybody who's out here trying to do better. You can't get jobs, you can't get housing because you got this stuff on your record. And the only other thing in terms of the clemency process is commutations. Those are for the folks who are actually in prison trying to have their sentence either overturned or just be released for whatever reason.
Yep, and I'm proud to say I had the 5-0 vote, Mike. I was 5-0. I had more than 3, but
and God bless. And you just happen to know somebody who led you into this situation. Like, shout out to my man Big Rob, who knew somebody who said this is the process that you have to go through. But the average person doesn't, even as much as you try to simplify it. The average person is not going to have access or have the ability to take the time. Jay Black still had a job, was still working, and was blessed to have a good paying job. And there's so many people who are in the struggle right now who are just trying to see if we can keep this rent paid. So this web of this court system is a vicious cycle. And you go like, it's almost like they knew when they created this, who it was going to put the press on, because there are too many people who just can't afford, don't understand, don't have resources or access to the resources to actually take advantage of this stuff. So I applaud you, Cortez Patton, Chief Counsel of PA State Senator Anthony Williams. I applaud you for doing this work, because I hate to say it, but people like you do this work and it's almost thankless, because you're actually working and you're fighting against the system that knows they want to exclude us. And then you show your face and you're like, I'm trying to that inclusivity that everybody's worried about. I'm trying to bring my people in this. So just to end this on a positive note, when you say Chief Counsel of PA, what's your next step? Like what in the goal? Like, look, I want a Netflix special. I'm a comedian. I want a Netflix special. What is next? What is in the big picture? What is next for you?
Yeah, good question. Because I noticed you were running for the Common Pleas judge of Philadelphia, and you suspended your campaign recently. Like, what happened?
Right. So the main thing for me and that decision was just being able to organize people, what I call disaffected voters, people who are being taken advantage of, people who live in communities where they're being overlooked. The pandemic made it a little bit challenging for me to actually engage those people. So we're gearing up for the next cycle, 2023. It's all good, but ultimately it's about serving people. So I'm going to be the judge. You know, there
we go. That's what I wanted to hear. There we go. All right.
Absolutely.
But real quick, so you worked in family court.
Hold on, before Jay Black says this is the infamous Jay Black. When we're about to wrap up an interview.
Yep.
This is his infamous.
He jumps in.
He jumps in and says He says real quick.
Never
Mr. Patton, soon to be judge. We're gonna put that in the atmosphere. Chief Counsel of PA, State Senator Anthony Williams. This is not gonna be real quick. I'm actually going to go grab my coffee. It's not going to be real quick.
No, you worked in family court. And I know you dealt with a lot of, child support challenges and hearing things. My question was, with the child support, is there ever a way to get an itemized tracking to see where that money is going to? Because we know that the child support payments, the moms really ain't using it for the kids. And like, what was your experience with child support? And why can't it be an itemized breakdown of where that money went?
Hey, Cortez, I'm going to get coffee because my kids live with me.
You need that. That's just a challenging situation all around, though, Jay Black. I mean, honestly, whenever you're talking about expenses for a child, one parent might be a bargain shopper while the other one likes to do whatever. So, but our standard always has to be what's best for this child, and we just look at general numbers because everybody is not the same. So you look at general numbers where you say, can this child be well taken care of with this amount of money? But it's also the amount of money depends on the parent's ability to actually work, right, and earn an income. And so it's very challenging, and no judge, no custody master or child support master, certainly in Pennsylvania, is actually going to want to be bothered with having to look at your stuff, right? And so when I talk about representation mattering, that stuff is important. I tell young folk all the time, these judges don't care about what you're talking about. These support masters, custody, they don't actually care what you're talking about. All they have is a formula sitting in front of them, and they see a person here who they think is trying to get out of an obligation. Now we know that's not true, but we all think that what's happening with us is the most important thing in the world. The reality is people just don't care. It's like, well, you got yourself into this situation. Here is the the child support formula. You want to put your numbers through here, and this is what it spits out. So it's just going to be extraordinarily difficult to ever get somebody to get the system to actually deal with an itemized list, because frankly, we trust y'all to go do whatever y'all doing for your children. Which is that's overall, that's a good thing, right? You want the system to have a little trust. You want to trust the system, right? It's the
look at Cam. Cam upset too. Look,
look. You didn't touch the nerve. I know I ain't said a word, but man, oh man.
It's real, because Cortez, the judge, told me, I said, I got a car note, I got my mortgage. The judge said, well, catch the bus, get rid of your car. And I'm like, wait, I thought that was real blunt and really harsh, but I guess if I don't have the money, and then they froze my bank account one time, and then they want to suspend your license, they threatened. or they want to lock you up. But how can I pay if I'm locked up, if I'm behind?
Yeah.
I don't know. Like back then, I'm glad I'm off of it now. But I just felt like there's a lot of people that's going through that child support system right now and that's hurting and really can't afford it and still have the life that they're living. And we all know the kids necessarily doesn't need that amount of money that the court's saying that person should be paying off of income potential. They go by your income potential.
And Cortez and Mr. Patton, I just want to say, you don't have to say anything to this, but I have a funny feeling if 90% of those clients that were walking in this child support court were white and they were in the suburbs of Mount Laurel, New Jersey and Cherry Hill, New Jersey, I may be wrong. I don't think it would be the same. I don't think it would be handled the same, but maybe I could be wrong.
I mean, there's definitely something there, but one bright spot in terms of the process, I have actively been working with stakeholders across Pennsylvania to actually form a statewide commission that explores this very stuff to see whether there is a bias. I mean, we all know what's going on a practical level, but to see how the government systems are actually impacting the lives of fathers in particular, who overwhelmingly do not have primary custody of the children, and so we're actively working on that for this very reason, because it is unfair. We know it's unfair. It's having a negative impact on the family structure in general, because once this stuff keeps you from actually seeing your kids, it's impacting your credit, you're in arrears. All this stuff is actually preventing you from being your best self. And so we are looking at it like anything. It takes work, but it's worth it.
Look, Cortez Patton, thank you so much. Chief Counsel of PA State Senator Anthony Williams, thank you so much. And thank you from everybody in Pennsylvania for all the work that you're doing. And it's not but that's why we want to bring you on here. We just want people to understand there are people, they're African Americans, there are people who are representing us in this situation, trying to do the best. And Jay Black, look, Jay, you should have thought about that when you was moaning and groaning before you. No, I'm playing, Jay. I'm playing. Ladies and gentlemen, Cortez Patton, right here. Thank you so much.
Appreciate y'all.
Thank you for taking time out. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
And spread the word. Tell everybody you know, download Free Agent Radio.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Look at this, Jay Black brought a guest on here just so he could vent.
No, yeah, it was.
And then Cam co-signed it.
Cam,
I was ready.
Steaming. Cam was steaming with the
Cam was steaming.
I was looking at the clock, but I said, I'm ready. Woo.
Yeah, but honestly though, Mike, real quick, the part is literally was $25 for the application and then $10 for your state record that you got to pull. The rest is just you doing the legwork. It's not difficult. It only took me 2 years to get that governor's pardon. 2 years. That was it. So for anybody out there listening, it's legit, can happen, but you need at least 5 years removed from your crime and no real major. I meant to ask him about no major felonies, but like a stolen car, a drug, some minor drug violations, some drug, controlled substance and stuff like that, assault. You can get all those felonies can be removed.